I'm delighted to be chatting today about Irish circular insights. So I'll be taking a different approach to our previous speakers, more talking about what's happening on the ground, what are we hearing from the Irish public. Before I go into that, a little bit about us, the Rediscovery Centre. So in case you don't know us, we are based out in Ballymun, and we're the national centre for the circular economy. And we've been also going for 20 years as well, Elizabeth. I think something happened 20 years ago in Ireland, and we all went on this journey. We're a for-impact organisation, and we've been working with communities across Ireland to really help them on their circular economy journey. So how have we been doing this? In recent years, our impact has really grown, both on the ground, but also in Ballymun as well. We now have over 70 staff and trainees, and each year we welcome approximately 18,000 visitors into the Rediscovery Centre, and we have workshops with about 15,000 students across the country as well. We're delivering our mission through four kind of key goals. Firstly, on education, we are looking to advance lifelong learning through national education programs, vocational and accredited training, with community initiatives and awareness raising, all part of this active engagement that we have. Secondly, on our demonstration side of things, so the Rediscovery Centre is a demonstration and outreach hub, and it is designed as a 3D textbook. But we also are enabling action through highlighting circular economy opportunities and good practices within the centre. And as I said, we're the home to the first 3D circular economy demonstration centre in Europe. On collaboration, it's key to everything we do. We deepen the circular economy movement through working with others, meeting people at events like this, but also just where they are as well. It's about meeting people at the communities. And finally, on the advocacy and research, and this is where I'll kind of dive in a little bit more today on. We provide evidence-base to support the progress on both policy and practice. And that's really important. In everything we do, it is underpinned by evidence, by research, so that we're really doing the right thing, but we're making sure that it is informed by what the people are saying also. So this is kind of where I'll dive into a little bit of understanding the Irish public, and we've conducted research to understand how the Irish public perceives and engages with the circular economy. And this research explores people's attitudes and behaviours and their awareness from the level on how they make consumption choices, but also how they interact with repair and reuse systems. So I suppose to start with Combi model here, let me go have all these up. Behaviour change really requires, is really required, I suppose, for the transition on the scale, and it's rarely witnessed, the transition that we need or the behaviour model that we need in both consumer and a business level. The research that we have seen and that we've conducted tells us that behaviour change can be delivered through effective interventions, and it's a very complex area. Behaviour models like the Combi model here, so compatibility, opportunity, motivation can equal behaviour change. And what we see here and what we hear from our work with the local communities is that there is an appetite for change, and it is growing. And the awareness levels are rising more and more. But this is where I suppose the real industry and the people in this room, where that real imperative lies, is the provision of circular products and services, and the adoption to different to circular business models is really going to be key in this. So what are we hearing? So over the past 4 years, we've seen a 30% increase. We know that there is an increase in the Irish public understanding and kind of hearing the term circular economy. And this is through our works with behaviours and attitudes. And we tracked the levels of awareness, understanding, and interest. So 55% of the Irish public are now aware of what the term circular economy is. It's great to see that growth over kind of a relatively short period of time. We know that there's, I suppose, the public understanding, but also behaviour is increasing. So there's a growing uptake in reuse, repair, and recycling. Our market research shows that there's a steady rise in people repairing items where they have the skills. The appetite for change is growing, but barriers, in particular cost, convenience, and access, still remain. And I suppose extended producer responsibility is kind of key here. Producers must be designing these now, as was in this thread of this conversation we're having, designing them for reuse and repair, and ensure that accessible take-backs are there. So they're the barriers that people are telling us that they don't exist. In addition to our own research that we do, we also collaborate with other researchers. So we do have a stand down the end where you can see some of our research projects and if you have any interest in them. But I'd like to call out one in particular in collaboration with the University College Cork. And this was research to compare and contrast, to look at the willingness of the Irish population to engage in circular economy behaviour. And what we see here, there's again overwhelming support for take-back schemes, repair, remanufacturing, and second-hand goods, with slightly less support, though, there for the leasing and the renting schemes. So again, we're seeing all these trends. The people are telling us, the Irish public are telling us they want to be involved in this. They understand what it is. We heard it in Owen's presentation earlier. There's a huge appetite for it. But there are barriers there that we've discussed, and we'll kind of get a bit more into in the conversation. So this is what we're hearing and what the Irish public are telling us. But what's happening on the ground? And in the Rediscovery Centre, we're in a really unique position, and we have this unique selling point that our research really helps to inform what we do in practice because we have this centre. And I suppose I'll go into a couple of examples. I could talk for a lot longer than these 10 minutes about the work that's going on, but just a slight example on a few. So I'll start with the paint reuse network, and this is, again, just one example, but something that has been extremely successful, and it's building on our experience on running Rediscover Paint in Ballymun for over a decade. And the research showed us that the expansion and best practice of this could be rolled out nationwide. And we established the Paint Reuse Network in partnership with the waste management regions and planning offices. We now have 11 members right across the country. I think the map needs to be updated. And it's growing. And these are operating on various different scales, where they're collecting paint from the civic amenity sites, bringing it to their social enterprises for it to be remixed. So it's strained, there's a full process around that, and then resold to the public or donated to local community groups. And there's a real appetite there. The amount of paint that is donated every year to the civic amenity sites, but also that people are coming looking for this paint instead of going to the traditional hardware shop to buy it. Where we can see that sometimes, I think if we went a lot broader with this, I don't think we'd actually be able to meet the demand in terms of the will from the public, that there is so much there. I suppose, and that is it. It's the interest piece for me there is that the appetite at the local level to engage in the circular economy. It's not just that organisations that are involved in reuse or the local authorities, but it's the organisations and the individuals, the public bodies and organisations purchasing and promoting the paint, and their motivations for doing it vary across the board. We also see a lot of circular economy activity emerging and embedding in across the country, and we have developed this circular economy map out of pre-loved denim. And you can see again, if you can see on the map, my screen, it's the plethora of activity right across the country, and that's only a brief snapshot of what's going on right across the country. The Rediscovery Centre is uniquely positioned as well to be at the centre of this, where we have kind of our own activities at a local level, being able to support those across the country, but also being able to tap into those local communities that are there, that are working on the ground and listening and understanding what they're saying. So I will wrap it up there, because I know we've lots to talk about in the next session, but welcome to conversations. Thank you.